Hi, this is Brett Ingram, entrepreneur and award-winning product creator, and today I want to share with you 6 ways to start your day feeling unstoppable. How we feel determines how we perform. So it's actually really important that each day we get off to a great start. Now, depending on your situation, depending on what's going on in your life, and just depending on sort of luck a little bit, every day when we wake up, we may feel a certain way, and some days we're naturally more motivated, some days we're naturally less motivated. And each day, though, we have to approach our workday and do what we need to do and try to be as effective as possible. And so, for most of us, it's easy to just grab your coffee, get your, banana or your donut or whatever it is that you're going to eat for breakfast and sort of trudge through the day. And this is particularly, common if you're really busy and you have a lot of stuff going on. Maybe you have kids at home and pets and everything else. I know for me, the minute that I wake up, I have my dog and my cat right there waiting for me. Cat wants to be fed, dog needs to be let out. And so I have a routine before I can even get started waking people up and getting things going for the day. So regardless of your situation, right, we're human. So in every given day, we have a different sort of mindset when we initially wake up. And we can certainly do that and we can, grind through it and everything else. But a far more effective way to go about our day is to start off with an attitude and a feeling that, we're powerful, we're unstoppable. And, wouldn't that just be a better way to run each day? If you could wake up every day and you knew that the minute that you woke up, you were going to jump out of bed and you were going to be feeling like, wow, this is a great day. There's a movie with Tom Cruise called Jerry Maguire where he's a sports agent. It's a couple decades old at this point, but it's actually a great movie. And, one of the things that they do in the movie is they keep going to these cut scenes of the mentor of the Tom Cruise character, the sports agent. And in one of the scenes, he says, every day when I wake up, I clap my hands together and I jump out of bed and I say, this is going to be a great day. And it's funny because, he's this older guy and, you can see that was sort of his motivational thing for the people that he was mentoring. But there's truth to what he's saying. Our attitude and our mentality with the way that we approach each day makes a big difference in terms of not only what we accomplish, not only the way that we feel, but also the way that we react to stuff. If we're having sort of a bad day, and I've been in this circumstance that I'm driving my son to school, and then we get stuck behind a school bus, and then we're driving a little bit more, and there's a construction site. I'm grumbling to myself, and I'm feeling frustrated because I'm already in a bad mood. And this stuff is, I'm now worried he's going to be late for school. We should have left a little bit earlier. And so the stress starts to mount. And then by the time you're done with all of that, and then you start to get to your work day, if that's the situation, it's terrible because you're already in a really negative place. It's a fact of life. Nobody wakes up every morning leaping out of bed saying, oh my goodness, I can't wait to do what I got every single day. It's just impossible. We're all going to have days where, we'd rather stay in bed. But the reality of it is, as adults, we have responsibilities, we have things we have to do, and we have things that we want to accomplish. And so it's far better if we can find a way to tap into limitless motivation, limitless, inspiration, so we can start to feel as though the day is going to be better. Because you felt it. When you've had those kinds of days, you know what I'm talking about, where everything's sort of a drag. You need that coffee or that caffeine just to sort of get you going, let alone motivate you. That's just to get you, out of the house. And then you've had those days where you did wake up and you felt unstoppable, like you couldn't wait to get to what you had to do. And if you're being honest and you think about it, what days were more productive? 9 times out of 10, it's going to be the day where you felt great. Because then on those days where the bus stops in front of you, there's a traffic jam, you hit a pothole, whatever, you just sort of fluff it off, right? You have a much easier way to be able to brook disappointment and work through obstacles. Whereas when you're already feeling down, all it takes is that one little thing to just make you feel that much more terrible. and depressed, and then you don't want to do anything. As you might know by this point, I love movies. And so I'll often refer to movies. I'll often quote things in movies because I do it all the time. It drives my family nuts, but that's okay. I'll do it to you and drive you nuts instead. So in the movie Tommy Boy with Chris Farley, which is one of my all-time favorites, just an awesome, funny movie. You know, he's having a terrible time. His dad passes away. He's going to lose the company. Everything's going wrong. And he's sitting on a bench, and, you know, he's a little heavy guy. So he's sitting on the bench, and the footing underneath his side of the bench just gives way, and the bench, you know, crashes down. And he's sitting there on the ground, and he just looks up and he says, "I didn't need that." And I've definitely felt that way before, but there are a lot better ways to feel. So enough of the negativity. I want to share with you the 6 ways to actually start your day feeling unstoppable, because I just think it's so much more effective and powerful way to get things going. And so the first thing that we can do is we can actually feel gratitude. And, you know, sometimes this is really difficult, particularly if we think things aren't going well for us, to be grateful for things, but that's actually the time where it's most important. Now, the key for the gratitude thing, though, is to actually feel it. So you need to think of things in your life, and for me, I do 5. I think of 5 things in my life that I'm grateful for. And they can be simple. They can be as little as, you know, my son's soccer coach gave him this tip that helped him, you know, improve. It could be as little, you know, as the person that let you pull out in traffic and stopped everybody behind them, and so you weren't late, you know, for your appointment, or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. They can be simple, and for this to work over and over again, it's best to have more than just the 5. You know, you don't want to draw on the same 5 every day because they lose a little effectiveness. You can go back to the same ones, but it's better to actually try to think of new ones each day, and then you can go back and reset later. But the key to it is to think about that person or think about that thing that you're grateful for and actually feel it. You can close your eyes, you can think about it and feel, and you will feel your chest expand. You'll feel your heart start to swell. It's impossible not to. I'm getting chills just talking about it because that's how good it makes you feel. And it changes your entire mood. It changes your entire mentality. I'm super grateful to have this opportunity to share information with you and maybe help you get a distinction here, a distinction there. If I help one person learn one new thing or motivate them to perform at their best for one day, I'm happy. I'm grateful for that. And so it's important to find those things and tap into that. It's really, really powerful. It only takes seconds. You can do it totally privately. So even if you're in a very crowded place, it doesn't matter. No one will ever know. You could completely do it yourself. You could even do it on the train ride in the city or the commute or whatever it is. It doesn't matter. But the point is, feeling that gratitude about those things will make a huge, huge difference in just the way you feel, and it's almost instantaneous. It's that powerful. So that's really awesome. Another thing is, and this is a really cool sort of scientific thing, is that our physiology and our mentality or our psychology sort of go hand in hand. So generally, if we're not feeling good, we probably have slumped shoulders. We might be looking down a little bit more. You know, our whole demeanor changes. And you can see this when you look at people. You can see people who feel powerful and unstoppable. Their shoulders are back. You know what I mean? They're walking upright and they're looking people in the eye. And when people aren't feeling good about themselves or aren't feeling confident, they're sort of looking down. They're you know, maybe like have a nervous habit or something like that. And so our physiology can also work in the reverse way, where we can change our physiology to feel better. So yes, if you're feeling down, you'll have bad physiology, but then if you change the way you physically behave, you'll change the way you feel. And so two kind of cool things, they're a little cheesy maybe, but they work, that I use that are awesome, are just the victory with the V over your head. If you pump your fist and you go like that, if you puff your chest out and stand up and you do it, it's impossible not to feel great. There's a reason people in sporting events, when they score the goal, when they win the game, do that. It's because you feel awesome when you do it. So that's a really powerful thing. Another thing you could do is, which is really funny, is in the old Superman movies and TV show, Superman would always stand with clenched fists at his hips, and he would stand up straight with his chest out, and he'd put his fists on his hips and stick his chest out. And it's remarkable how it makes you feel. If you try it, stand up, put your like fists, against the side of your hips and puff your chest out. It's impossible not to feel great when you do that. So all those kinds of physiology things work. And there's a bunch of them, pump your fists, like whatever it is for you, that when you think in your life, times where you felt great, if there's a physiological thing that you've done, whether it's in sports or whether it's in, whatever it is, that's the thing that you want to mirror. You want to use it again, and it will create that positive mind frame for you automatically. A third thing is simple, and it's been said a million times, but it's exercise. It's impossible not to feel great when we exercise. And again, this is one of those sort of paradoxical things, because the times that you feel the least like exercising are usually the times that you need it the most. And so it's very funny, because I can even tell you that I go to the gym. I've taught both of my sons, weight training and things like that. And so I still actively go to the gym, and I've been doing it since I've been a teenager. So for me, I feel out of balance in my life if I'm not working out. If I go too many days in a row without hitting the gym, I start to feel out of balance, and I need to get in there and do it. But even if you're not a gym rat, even if you're not someone who likes the gym, and it could be cardio, it could be weight training. For me, it's weights, because I love the endorphins. I love the feeling of, pushing that weight. Also, it works fantastically if you're frustrated. If you have any frustrations or anything, any anger or whatever else you want to get out in your life, there's nothing better to do than go hit the weights, because you'll get your anger out. And when you work out like that, again, it releases endorphins in your body, and it makes you feel so much more positive and so much better than you did when you started. I always, 100% of the time, feel better leaving the gym than I do arriving at the gym, no matter how I feel when I go in. So exercise is fantastic. I understand it's not always possible to exercise in the morning. I actually can't, unless I want to get up at 5 in the morning. I have too many things to do in the morning. I have to do it later. But if you have that in your schedule where you could get up and do even 20 or 30 minutes of exercise, it will start your day off in a really, really fantastic way. A fourth thing that I find, very, very powerful, that I love, is reading or listening to inspirational stories. There's nothing to me that's more powerful or exciting or engaging than hearing somebody else's story of something that they did to break through obstacles or to make something happen. I cheer for those people. I celebrate those people. I think it's a testament to the human spirit. One of the things that always gets me, and I'll always remember it, is I was watching the Olympics, and I don't even remember what year this was, but it was the Summer Olympics, and I believe it was a sprint. So I think it was the 100 meter. It was a short sprint. Pretty sure it was the 100 meter, and I believe the guy was Canadian, but I'm not positive. And he was a runner, who had obviously trained his whole life for this moment to be in the Olympics. And the gun goes off, and they start to run. And about, maybe a third of the way, he reaches down and he grabs his hamstring and just pulls up and collapses. He pulled his hamstring when he was running, or his Achilles or something like that, some devastating injury where not only would he not be able to finish the race, but he literally collapsed on the track. And the amazing thing about it was his father was in the stands, and his father jumped over the wall of the stands and ran out onto the track, and the security guys came running over like, oh no, what's going to happen here? They thought, and the father came over and he lifted his son up, and his son put his arm around his dad, and his dad helped him hop on one foot all the way across the finish line, because he wanted to make sure his son was able to finish the race. And if that doesn't move you, if that doesn't make you feel inspired and motivated, find things that do. But for me, it was so visceral. I can see it in my mind every time I go back to it. And if you're wondering, like, well, where would I find inspirational stories? You can just do a search. If you literally do a search on like Google for inspirational stories, there's 100 websites that pull up, and they all have lists and lists and lists of inspirational stories. Some are true, some are fictional, like whatever, but you can just scroll through that, click on one, and just read one. I mean, it'll take you 3 or 4 minutes, maybe 5 minutes at the most, and it gets you in that right frame of mind, because when you see what other odds people have had to overcome, it's impossible not to feel inspired by that and want to do well ourselves. A fifth thing that we can do that's also very simple, and people do it automatically already to get in various moods, is listen to music. And the music matters, the type of music. So there aren't particular songs that matter, but what matters is that it's the right kind of music. I have a work mix that I listen to, and some of the music on that mix is very slow. Some of it, they're actually kind of depressing songs, but they're beautiful. So I will listen to them sometimes, but if I need a boost, I'll skip right over those songs and I go to the ones with more of an inspirational message or a higher tempo or whatever. So when I go to the gym, it's a completely different playlist. It's all motivational, pumping music. That's the thing that, whatever it is for you, for music that gets you going, make a short little playlist of that and just crank that out in the car in the morning, or crank that out right as you start your day with your headphones on. And when you do that and roll off of that to start your day, you'll find you're a lot more powerful and a lot more effective. And then the last thing, or the sixth thing, and there's obviously, it's not last, there's a million things that you can do, but these are just some suggestions, is to think through your past accomplishments. A lot of times, especially as entrepreneurs, we spend a lot of time whipping ourselves for the things that we didn't do right, or the things we didn't see coming, or the mistakes that we made, or how much better we should be performing than we are. When in reality, it's super important to understand and be proud of the fact that if you're an entrepreneur, if you're setting out to do something on your own, that takes courage, that takes bravery. So just that act in and of itself puts you above, a lot of people in terms of just how courageous you are. And that in and of itself is worth something. But beyond that, it's the idea that you've done things in your life. And I don't care if it's when you were 2 years old or, 122 years old. You've done things in your life that you're proud of. And if you think back to those moments, and just like the gratitude thing, feel it. Don't just intellectually think about it. Yeah, well, I did this, I did that, I did that. Get in the moment, close your eyes, think about what it felt like to win that award, or to make that accomplishment, or to make that thing happen, or to close that deal, or whatever it is you did. Really get in that moment and feel it again. You will find, again, it rises your entire body and you start to feel better. And when you have that kind of a mindset, when you have that kind of a mentality to start a day, it's so much more powerful. I mean, nothing's going to stand in your way. You're going to blast through everything, and you're going to tackle the simple problems like they aren't even there. So the takeaway here is that how we feel impacts how we perform. So if we want to have a great day that we're going to be able to be proud of at the end of it, then we need to have the right mindset and the expectation of accomplishment going into it. We may wake up in different moods every single day. There's nothing we can do about that. But we can do simple little things to power up and be ready to tackle anything. So create a habit each morning as you start your day, and use these ideas to make yourself feel unstoppable. And before long, you will be.